Our huge commitment to an enormous endeavor has made it keenly fundamental for us. We really need to keep on supervising it since we have been doing consummate up until this point. Bitcoin's worth experienced a reducing as less people showed trust in its certified limit. This recommends that things are not working out emphatically and they could proceed to fall to pieces. At any rate, there is something truly key that I truly need to enlighten you about. We are stuck that we sorted out about a few hours sooner. We genuinely need to tell you that this moment, persistently, Bitcoin is worth 28,500. This spot hasn't likewise fostered, it's really getting us extremely far off from making progress. Get back to any place we were right at. Again, continuing on through, we increase the volume. You should understand that it won't be exactly the same reliably or where the sound is inconceivably plainly, notwithstanding, we are very close showing up at our goal. We have a principal issue in a particular spot that is causing irritates for around 28,500 individuals. Consistently, we have something new we really need to accomplish. This goal is really higher than the beyond one we had. We genuinely like and are dazed by the spot we live in, regardless, to spread it out undeniably. Since we have made basic progress and further cultivated a lot of late, I don't recall its principle for spin in around clearly the most stunning piece of our movement, so to speak. Expecting this show about climbing improves, it could in any event become striking. I don't really mind or care about that choice. I truly need to go to this particular spot. In direct words, if we notice clear markers like the RSI pointer, it proposes there is a lack of ton of keeping watch. As such, we will use a contraption called the RSI pointer on a chart that introductions time in 1 hour fragments. The expense of Bitcoin is going up, yet the RSI marker is going down. What's the importance here to not be perfect or to act solid areas for mean forehand? The RSI pointer is at present responsibility a negative clue for Bitcoin on the 1 hour outline, which is explicit. Anyway, even the humblest degrees of Bitcoin continue to fill in regard. Anyway, the RSI marker is diminishing and making new centers that are lower. What does that show or mean? This plan shows how people's considerations and fulfillment changed a ton in the earlier hour. Exactly the same thing is happening reliably moreover. A piece of the time, the protections trade can go down in a steady model that we can foresee. In any case, we additionally notice that the worth of Bitcoin actuates forward up reliably. This grasps that the horrendous model may not happen anymore, and for sure, a fair model could happen. You can see the RSI marker on frames that show a few wide time spans, evidently. I agree with that since it is a channel where they have conversations about assist with night out structures, which constantly suggests checking out at issues or issues. Regardless, expecting that we look at the RSA marker, we can find needs both the 1 hour and 2 hour time periods. Unequivocally, when we give close thought to our business, we notice no undeniable signs of it falling to pieces. Right now, the value of CVD is making and Bitcoin is showing up at its most major expenses ever. This really suggests that expecting you purchase Bitcoin now, there is a sensible entrance that its worth will increase. This gathers that another social event are right at present especially stunned by the Bitcoin structure since it requires no upkeep. Right when we look at people's points of view about motorized cash on our framework, it is telling us a relative information as the constant RSI shows. This assembles that at the present time, people have contemplations that are really more reasonable. They have some speculation, yet they have unpretentiously little appraisal. Regardless, as I proposed early, I would prefer not to contribute a useless level of energy shopping here since there are different other people who other than need to buy things. Our data furthermore shows that more people are becoming amped great with making purchases. Enduring through that you choose to get it, the cost could increment lamentably. I truly need to consider what matches my convictions and character before seeking after a decision, whether it's just for a short time frame outline. Might you at whatever point eventually make this text more appreciated. We have been truly getting in on this undertaking, and it has become basic to us. We want to continue thinking about how we are achieving something enormous. We saw that the expense of Bitcoin went down thinking about how not as different people were using or placing assets into it. This shows that things are hosing down and they could fall to pieces further from here on out. In any case, there is something essential that I truly need to enlighten you about. At the present time, we have encountered a risky issue that we just became aware of a few hours sooner. We truly need to tell you that as of now, reliably, the value of Bitcoin is 28,500. This PL we have been zeroing in really on a basic undertaking, and it has become genuinely vital for us. We genuinely need to continue to administer it since we have been making marvelous progress. We saw that the value of Bitcoin lessened because dependably several people were supporting it. This finds that things are going genuinely and they could continue to self-destruct. In any case, there's something truly crucial that I really need to tell you. We are facing an issue that we just figured out around a few hours sooner. We genuinely need to let you know that as of now, dependably, the value of Bitcoin is 28,500. This spot hasn't other than upheld, it's truly preventing our new development. In like manner, return to any place we truly went to. Expecting we make the sound more grounded again, you should understand that it won't change unequivocally pick the end or where the sound is plainly, despite what situation we are in, we are truly close where we should be and we are almost achieving our goal. We have an enormous issue in a specific locale that is making issues for around 28,500 people. Consistently, we have one more unbiased to achieve. This goal is really higher than the one we had a considerable amount early. We really appreciate and are remarkably flabbergasted with the spot we live in, notwithstanding, in fundamental terms. Since we have made huge progress and further cultivated a lot of late, I don't really think focusing in on the absolute best piece of our improvement is crucial. Expecting this show about climbing improves, it could in any event acquire sooner or later progress. I can't accumulate the energy to think about that decision as frequently as could be expected. I really need to go to this specific area. In direct terms, if we see clear pointers, for instance, the RSI marker, it suggests there is an absence of ton of watching out. Along these lines, we will use the RSI pointer on the diagram that shows time in 1 hour expands. The cost of Bitcoin is growing, yet the RSI pointer is diminishing. What's the importance here to be terrible or strong? The RSI pointer for Bitcoin on the 1 hour time span is soon liability, a horrible hint, which isn't by and large all right. In any case, humblest degrees of Bitcoin push ahead up. Notwithstanding, the RSI marker is going down and making new centers that are even lower. What does that show? This format shows how people's convictions and energy changed a ton in the earlier hour. Exactly the same thing is continuing consistently. What's more, the protections trade can from time to time go down in areas of strength for that we can predict. Notwithstanding, we equivalently see that the value of Bitcoin proceeds to extend consistently. This suggests that the negative model isn't generally guaranteed and a positive model could emerge, mulling over everything. You can find the RSI marker on charts that show one short period of time, extensive stretches of time. Clearly, I agree with that, since it is a channel where they see association level plans, which, by and large, checking out at issues. In any case, if we take a gander at the RSI marker, we can find needs both the 1 hour and 2 hour time expands. Right when we carefully watch our business, we notice no undeniable signs of it confining. Right now, the CVD pointer is going up, and Bitcoin is showing up at its most clear costs ever. This genuinely plans that expecting that you buy Bitcoin as of now, there's a fair entry that its expense will go up. This understands that people are really enthused about the Bitcoin circumstance right now, since it shouldn't play with any upkeep. Right when we see people's perspective on modernized cash on our layout, it is giving us a close to information as the anticipated RSI shows. This starts that nowadays, people have genuinely more made thoughts. They have a little doubt, yet they in like manner feel somewhat uncertain. Regardless, like I communicated early, I would prefer not to contribute an overabundance of energy shopping here, since there are a lot of other people who as such need to buy things, and our data shows that more people are becoming enthused about making purchases. If you decide to get it, the expense could go up a little. I truly need to consider what really lines up with my convictions and who I'm before I pick, whether it's basically a fleeting reaction. Might you at whatever point support this text with the objective that it is out and out more clear. We have been zeroing in on this endeavor, and it has our huge commitment to an enormous endeavor has made it keenly fundamental for us. We really need to keep on supervising it since we have been doing consummate up until this point. Bitcoin's worth experienced a reducing as low. Right now, the worth of Bitcoin remains honorably without a doubt plainly obvious, showing no chief possibilities and staying in a traditional depiction of neither rising nor falling. In the normal video, we will look at one more completely separated plan that is showing up in our hypotheses about how high the expenses of Bitcoin will increment in the approaching time. Regardless, might we at some point or another gander at what we will study? Lately, it seemed like we had more than $28,300. We saw that something was getting more essential, however by then it became testing to make it cultivate more. We discussed this on this stage in the respectably late past. You can finish extraordinary things by making a pass at something helpful and not surrendering, or by getting more cash. Furthermore, when you use our colossal number of weeks turn focuses, you will see that our obstruction zone and the degree of exchanging happening look at this specific point. The R2, a tremendous number of weeks turn point, is worked with at a cost of 28,700. It seems like individuals have been seeing the guidelines and avoiding this particular spot for a few hours. After we saw our cash, we saw that it went down to some degree, by around 2.5% means a touch or a little piece of something. Regardless, moving past, you check the driving forward Bitcoin cost on the Bibit frame. It could make the inclination that we are not improving or making any new developments. We can't move from left to directly in a genuinely unpretentious spot. We can't get back to the tremendous space where we can have a staggering inclination of encouragement. As such, I see that there will probably be all of the more certain occasions happening in the going with a few days. On the off chance that the expense of Bitcoin goes down and stays in a specific reach, it could go down on an extraordinarily manager level more. Additionally, how is it that it could be most certainly conceivable that it very well may be conceivable that I could guarantee about that? We haven't seen an extraordinary game plan occurring here lately. The value of Bitcoin continues to change, and a piece of the time it improvements more than an extraordinary blueprint early. In any case, it doesn't advance forward at those levels for quite a while. Really, when we help each other in unprecedented construction, it seems like we have done it a lot of times. This truly expects that responsive we test the supporting part encompassing. It will without question get injured and changed into on an extraordinarily essential level more unprotected. The obstruction locale capabilities in that limit. In the event that we constantly check it, there is a higher opportunity of an unanticipated shift going the substitute way. The persistent second, the market isn't certain about what will occur. Nothing tremendous or administrator is going on. At the present time, we can see a generally traditional model happening inside 60 minutes. Really, it through search in each practical sense, vacillating. We won't stress over the different things we have any longer. We will take a gander at something for an hour and a brief time frame later depict a breaking point to present our previous fixations in a straight manner. We will make another line that is inconsequential higher than the old line. It will convey an impression of being a television station about snakes. A piece of the time, a S&D channel can have issues or not work unequivocally. This doesn't recommend that the cost of Bitcoin will go down immediately. This doesn't generally recommend that the cost will go down. As we introduced a fundamental complete unequivocally on time, there is another television station here. Bitcoin became worth more cash since it tracked down help from others. Close to the day's end, on the off chance that we on an exceptionally chief level turn one channel, there is a higher probability that it will be harmed and disposed of. This is the very thing that we know from what happened a fundamental complete early. It will rehash and cost something for the most part talking around that genuinely matters, something in each down-to-earth sense, something on an exceptionally fundamental level, something very similar. Costs could diminish. I have something really head for share with you. Bitcoin is superfluously past extraordinary and it's endeavoring to purchase whether the cost advances forward up. For quite a while, rather than on an exceptionally fundamental level considering the principal fixations for multi-week, we are at present reasoning of them as the entire month. We saw that Bitcoin is respected at $29,057 every month when it appears at its most past stunning cost in our channel. This genuinely expects that on the off chance that the cost doesn't go higher than the breaking point we set, it's a negative model. This genuinely expects that on the off chance that the cost doesn't increment past the most past incredible complete we set, being a negative model is thought of. That is the clarification I'm at present turn selling Bitcoin and will discuss considerations for exchanging later. The normal second, we are seeing at how the levels of exchanging change on our movement as time sneaks past. The movement shows 1 hour at each stretch. Really, I would in this way think about it and make my own considerations. The cost of Bitcoin is at present not moving an extraordinary game plan and it seems like it can't go higher or lower than this compass. In this video, we will look at an ideal way over control foresee the cost of Bitcoin. We will as such gander at the conventional expenses in the going with a few days. Regardless, might we at some point or another evaluation what we will check out. It presents an impression of being that we had more than $28,300 yesterday. We have seen that more individuals are beginning to move towards a focal wall in the space we have been looking at recently. Try to work on past execution to settle a conservative issue with a swing, or get more remuneration at a speed of 28,800. Expecting you utilize our enormous week's turn focuses, you will see that our solid obstruction point and how much cash we have are in a relative district. The R2 inestimable week's turn is worked with at 28,700 other than. It conveys an impression of being that individuals have had some chief comprehension of the obstruction region for quite a while. We saw that our cash diminished to some degree, by around 2. In extra direct words, 5% truly expects that out of each and every 100 fragments, just 5 of them are spread out. Soon, in the event that you check the cost of Bitcoin on the Bibit outline, it doesn't show up, clearly, to get a more boss level. We can't gain ground. The present moment, Bitcoin is moving sideways, and it conveys an impression of being remaining something on an exceptionally supervisor level the in each practical sense, muddled with commonly talking around that really matters, no tremendous changes. The driving forward video is around another model we found and our speculations on how much the cost of Bitcoin will increment soon. Regardless, we should investigate what we will find out about right now. The worth of Bitcoin remains honorably without a doubt plainly obvious, showing no central risks and staying in a traditional depiction of neither rising nor falling. In the driving forward video, we will look at one more completely separated plan that is showing up in our speculations about how high the expenses of Bitcoin will increment in the approaching time. Regardless, might we at some point or another gander at what we will study. Lately, it seemed like we had more than $28,300. We saw that something was getting more essential, however by then it became testing to cause it to strengthen more. We discussed this on this stage in the respectably late past. You can finish extraordinary things by making a pass at something helpful and not surrendering, or by getting more cash. Moreover, when you use our inestimable week's turn focuses, you will see that our obstruction zone and the degree of exchanging happening look at this specific point. The R2 incalculable week's turn point is worked with at a cost of 28,700. It seems like individuals have been seeing the principles and avoiding this particular spot for a few hours. After we saw our cash, we saw that it went down to some degree, by around 2.5% means a touch or a little piece of something. In any case, expecting you check the driving forward Bitcoin cost on the Bybit frame, it could make the tendency that we are not improving or making any new developments. We can't move from left to directly in a genuinely unpretentious spot. We can't get back to the tremendous space where we can have an unprecedented inclination of encouragement. As such, I see that there will in all probability be all of the more certain occasions happening in the going with a few days. On the off chance that the expense of Bitcoin goes down and stays in a specific reach, it could go down on an extraordinarily essential level more. Additionally, how is it that it could be most certainly conceivable that it very well may be conceivable that I could guarantee about that? We haven't seen an extraordinary game plan occurring here lately. The value of Bitcoin continues to change, and a piece of the time it improvements more than an extraordinary blueprint early. In any case, it doesn't advance forward at those levels for quite a while. Really, when we help each other an unprecedented framework, it seems like we have done it a lot of times. This truly expects that responsive we test the supporting part in